We're going to start with two big global players, so that's interesting. Going to put that in perspective, and we're starting with probably the biggest, bluest of them all, and in fact it used to be called Big Blue. That's its code name. The company, of course, is IBM, International Business Machines. Started off making typewriters, if I'm not mistaken, got into computers, got into IT consulting and services. It is in transition, though, you'd have to say, because it's been selling off some of those low-margin operations where they manufacture servers and cash registers and all that sort of thing, and focusing on the big corporate consulting arena where their customers are like governments and huge mega corporations where they help them with IT development projects, security, networks, cloud computing. That's a big buzzword these days as well as analytics. That's where you use IT systems to track how well you're doing in the corporate. Market capitalization of this one is in the billions, $144.22 billion. PE of 12.09, that's not very high by US standards. Dividend yield of 3.58. You mentioned Warren Buffett's been buying this one. Why would he be buying this one?
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at it, again, just the size of the company itself, it's entrenched in most of its markets, and it has, Warren Buffett always looks for, the moats, and, it's very difficult to take IBM out of the world. It just won't work. I mean, it services, 90% of the top banks. It services, massive amounts of governments around the world, healthcare, it's in everything, and it's vital. It forms the nervous system of a lot of these companies. You rip it out, the companies will die.
Look at the share price, though, and part of that is because as this transition has been wrought by the senior management team, the earnings haven't been all that good. Lots of write-offs, write-downs. So that's the 5-year chart. Looks a bit fraught. It looks a bit sick, don't you think? Hey, is this one that one?
Again, I mean, I think you've had a re-rating. Also, the earnings haven't been particularly bad. It's actually got fairly stable earnings. It hasn't done the growth that you'd see in an Apple or a Google, but it has maintained its earnings. Its revenue has been a little bit flat, but it has actually been increasing its margins. Like you mentioned in the top, really moving into software, and it's a theme that we're going to see in a lot of these ICT companies is moving away from the physical providing the hardware, but instead trying to sell a solution so they can get that subscription revenue, which is all important.
Incomes.
Exactly right.
Okay, look, it's a bit of a fallen angel, bit of a prior blue chip mega cap stock that everybody had to own. Buffett is presumably accumulating because he thinks that it's too cheap and relative to its future earnings it's too attractive.
I think if you look at it on 12 multiple, remember you're going to be buying this and it's priced in dollars, and you're still going to get a 3.5% dividend yield. That is cheap, and if you look around this market, with the market looking a little bit shaky, buying a bit of value here maybe not a bad idea. But at the same time, I mean, we already know they're going into software as well. But I mean, you've got to talk about Watson if you're talking about.
What about Watson? That's the intelligent computer thing that runs all sorts of special applications.
This is CyberNet coming to the world. I mean, it's
so you dump a whole lot of data about people's medical records in there, and it suggests all sorts of new correlations.
Exactly, it's a new way of basically interpreting data. They're using it in cancer treatment as well.
What is it? So it's not a distributed thing. It's like you give them the data set, and it's like some astonishing supercomputer that does all the thinking on its side.
In a way, but it's more the way that it does the thinking. So, traditionally, like search engines would go and, they would basically list the pages and go and try and find the data. This actually, it uses actually language to process and go and look for things. So I think they first displayed it on Jeopardy, I think in 2011.
Because it used to beat the humans.
And it went and beat the humans, and it was just answering questions. And I mean, it only had, I think, 4 terabytes of data on its hard drive at that stage, which is not particularly big. But the processing capacity and the way the program is written is changing things. And I mean, they're exporting it. It's now become a solution. I mean, I think 9 out of 10 nurses are now going with the Watson recommendation. I mean,
9 out of 10 what?
Yeah, nurses that actually use it when analyzing for cancer treatment. So it's become pretty integral. And I mean, healthcare is another big space that IBM is pushing into.
And generally under IT'd in healthcare. Okay, look, we've got to call it because we've got to get through quite a lot today. Hot or not on IBM?
I think cheap, there's a lot of value and some exciting things happening at the company. So I'm going to go hot.
That's good because you don't normally go for
value stocks
that are having a bad moment. All right, we'll give it a hot.